So it has a brew. It's actually a milkless brew. It's festive chai black tea without milk because I couldn't be bothered to go and walk 10 minutes down the road to get some milk for essentially 2 days. I'm here in Plymouth for Saturday and Sunday, and I was here yesterday evening as well. And so I suppose I'm going to actually update you on what my current job situation is and everything like that, because it's kind of what a lot of people seem to be worried about. I don't really know why. It doesn't seems a bit odd that people really care that much, which, you know, is good, but, you know. So basically I've been seconded down to Truro and pretty much doing what I currently do at the moment, but more hardware-based stuff, because it's basically a remote site for the institution that I work for. And there's no third-party engineers or contractors down there, so we have to do everything. We have to replace hard drives, we have to do pretty much all the hardware stuff. We have to support AV stuff as well, video conferencing, all that kind of crap. So it's quite interesting being down there, but it's a real pain in the ass to get from my parents' place to work every day, which is yeah, it's quite interesting. So yeah, for a minute I'm down there, and I still have a house up in Plymouth, well, a room up in Plymouth, which is where I currently am. And I'm kind of just playing it by ear because I'm still on a temporary contract, and at the end of the month that runs out. It's probably likely to be renewed again, but I'm not too sure what's going on with that. There's no guarantees. But yeah, and if that runs out, well, I just wing it and play it by ear and see what happens. Maybe just take a month off, because I can afford to do that. Take a month off, reassess things, maybe then look at trying to develop YouTube maybe a little bit more. Maybe create some more content perhaps, but I honestly do not know what's going on. There's loads of jobs being advertised for essentially my position, so I'm going to apply for more, and I'll probably likely get it, but I don't want to become too complacent and just say, yeah, I'm definitely going to get it, because then that means I won't get it. But yeah, that's kind of what's happening at the moment. Brew Time's still going to try and be a weekly thing. I'm going to come up to Plymouth every weekend, chill out, make a Brew Time, and that's kind of pretty much going to be it. I have just made an IP5 Eco video, which is previous to this, although it'll probably be released after Brew Time, and I'll put a link in the description below of when it's up, and probably like some animation shit over here. So I've created one of those, which is good because I've not actually had chance to create one, and I'm probably now not going to have much chance to create much IP5 content for ages. I'm kind of hoping they get my place of work gets their arse in gear and actually advertises these jobs, so I can be back up in Plymouth, because I certainly don't want to be down in Truro. Or if I am down in Truro, that's fine. The trouble is with the Truro job, it's only for a year. It's not for forever, which is a bit annoying. But so there you go. It's just one of those things. There just does not seem to be any permanent work anywhere, and it's really crap at the moment. But I am still, you know, I'm alright. I'm still here. I'm still alive. And yeah, it's just, there's a few people who said, oh, well, you know, what's going on with your work situation and stuff like that via emails and stuff, and I had a few communications with people, which is really good. I mean, it's good that you guys actually care. But, you know, so that's kind of what's going on at the moment. In terms of news, I have to admit, I've been pretty lazy. I've just pretty much trawled Engadget and found 3 articles that are relevant for news this week, because I haven't really been keeping up with it at all this week, because I've kind of been a little bit busy. So the first thing is the HP smartphone, which has been released in India. Looks pretty sweet. It's kind of looks a little bit like a HTC One, maybe a little bit. Running Android, so moving away from WebOS, which is a bit of a shame because WebOS wasn't completely awful, and it could have maybe been salvaged. But yeah, it was kind of it does look quite cool, and you know, it's pretty cheap as well, supposedly. I know apparently HP don't want to call it a phone; they want to call it a phablet or a tablet or something, a slate. I don't know. They don't really want to call it a phone. It's kind of like a tablet with the phone capability or some bullshit. So I don't know. I'm talking about weird, wonderful phones. ZTE have got their Firefox OS phone, which you can buy for 50 quid on eBay at the moment, directly from ZTE, I think, which is pretty interesting. I probably wouldn't buy one because it's a Firefox OS and I've never played with it and it could be shit. But it's only 50 quid, so I've still got my ZTE up there, actually, which is my witness phone. I need to sell that, actually, because it's just kind of sitting there gathering dust. I don't use it. There's actually a few devices I need to now sell because they just kind of gather dust and I just don't use them. And if I'm going to move houses, which is quite likely if I get this job done permanently, then yeah, I'm going to have a big clear out of stuff. Intel's Q4 earnings came out this week as well, which looks pretty shit. Well, not pretty shit, they're just level, they're not actually rising, which is... It's interesting because PC sales are going down, we know that for a fact, and because of that, Intel's kind of sales figures haven't been doing so well, which is why Intel want to kind of get involved with the whole wearable sort of market, because that's kind of where all the money is and where all the money will be. PC sales have been in decline for quite a while now, and that's pretty much because most people are moving to tablets and smartphones and stuff like that. The likes of us geeks and obviously, you know, businesses and students and people like that are still going to need PCs, they're still going to need PCs, laptops, that kind of stuff. So they're obviously never going to go away, but they are reducing in their terms of their sales. Obviously still increasing in number because they're still being sold, but they're certainly not as relevant as they used to be, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose that's kind of the way things are going. I mean, I know, for instance, the fact my mum, she uses her smartphone more than she uses her PC now. She shops on it, she does all sorts of stuff on it. I think she's actually on her smartphone more than I'm on mine, which is a bit ridiculous. So yeah, and now she wants to get a tablet, and even though there's like a PC right next to her, she just doesn't like using it. Well, she likes using it, she just prefers to be able to just do it casually while she's watching TV or something, and chill out on the sofa and play games or whatever. So the last thing to end on is NSA shiz. President Obama, probably doing this for a bit of PR more than, well, not re-election because he can't be re-elected, but you know what I mean. He's announced that he wants to give the NSA less power and less data hoarding than has been currently happening. Well, at least that's what he's saying. Whether or not he just basically means that, well, we're going to pretend that that's the case. We're actually just going to hide it better so that nobody actually knows we're doing it. So obviously, the NSA do collect a lot of data, which we all knew for years and years. We already know that. But what President Obama wants to do is he wants to move it to a third-party contractor, essentially, so that they'll keep hold of the data, and so that the NSA then have to apply to them, get warrants and stuff like that to actually see the data, which is good, but it's still kind of bad. I mean, so what I envisage it being is essentially either the third-party contractor is going to be some private military contractor that's going to be crap and is going to lose data even more than the NSA, or say they're just going to do exactly what they are currently doing, they're just going to keep it more quiet. That's what I envisage doing. I don't know whether or not to believe him, really, to be honest. It's just one of those things. It bothers me in the fact that the only reason I have an issue with mass data surveillance is A, there's no need for it, and B, it's a huge invasion of privacy for what little return, for what I can see. Terrorism really is not that big of a deal, because if it was, it would happen all the time, and it's just, you know, things like the Boston bombings happened and we had all this surveillance and technology. Now, obviously the NSA and the government would argue, well, that means we have to have more surveillance, but other people would actually argue, common sense people would argue, in actual fact, it doesn't make any difference, all this surveillance, so therefore just get rid of it, which is kind of pretty much what they need to do. There is no need for that to happen. The only need they obviously need to do it is to increase the fear amongst the public. And I know this is really conspiracy theorists and tin hat and all this other stuff, but it's true. That's what they do, you know, that's the whole, especially in America, it's all about consumerism, it's about keeping people in fear, so they keep buying shit they don't need, and that's kind of it. And then it's really conspiracy theorists, but that's essentially what it is, and if you know, that's where all this kind of stuff stems from. And, you know, I think a lot more people have been, because the general public are stupid and idiotic anyway, but it does look like a lot more people are getting wise to it and kind of waking up and realising that actually, yeah, we don't really want this mass surveillance because we don't need it and all this other stuff, which is really cool. So hopefully Barack Obama will implement his plan of getting rid of it pretty much, or scaling it back a little bit more than it currently is. I suppose only time will tell, and if he then keeps it secret, well, who knows whether or not it'll ever come out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. It's been a pretty crap brew time because I've kind of not really planned it very well. But put some comments down below about stuff. I don't really know why I hadn't even said that. There's nothing to really comment about. Send me an email, azzychill@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at azzychill, and apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video.